Using non-standard lifts to assess your strength is a cope by weak people. Hey everybody, I thought I would chat with you guys about this a little bit. Again, because I did another recent video just discussing strength and strength standards. It's just one of the things I've said for a very long time, and people don't like this. And the problem with it is, yes, there's a point where we say strong is strong, but the issue is people love to take other lifts to mask their strength and they say, hey, how does this strength standard stack up? And it's like, we'll know how strong you are when you go do a standardized lift with strength standards, okay? When you do that and you use a lift that has been used competitively, there are strength standards around the world accepted on it, strength and conditioning coaches have charts and stuff on it. When you use those lifts, we know how strong you are. That's it. So if you're trying to assess your strength with other stuff, it's not going to work. And usually the people who are doing that, they're usually weak, or they won't, maybe not weak, they might be strong, but they want to come across as being a lot stronger than they really are. Okay, they want to come across being stronger than they really are. For example, you guys know where my strength has been over the years. The lifts that I've hit on standardized lifts on camera with calibrated plates, in my late 40s. I've done a 515 squat that was easily to depth. Now I've done 600 high in different bars, but that doesn't count, does it? You guys see me pull 635 on a conventional deadlift. You've seen me do a pause bench for a 2-second pause at 365. All those lifts were raw, right? They were all raw, only a belt or wrist wraps in some cases. And that's pretty much it. That's where I stand. And there's no question about that because these are standardized lifts. But people love to come over and they'll say stuff like, well, how about a double overhand deadlift? It's like, well, you're assessing your grip strength. Why don't you just go do a grip competition and use something like a Captain's a Crush gripper? Why? Because there's a strength standard set for it. It is a valid measurement of testing grip strength. It's done competitively. And then you'll know where your grip strength is. Why are you going to do a double overhand deadlift? And in fact, we see people fake those. You guys remember, I did a video on that. Remember when Alex Leonidas faked one? He faked a double overhand deadlift on camera, used a hook grip, and I called him on it, showed the footage. Tucked his thumb in at the last second. You could tell it was clearly a hook grip. He didn't have that grip strength to do that double overhand. He cheated. That's why I used to give him a hard time. He was the king of using non-standard lifts, and even when he would use them, he would do cheaty things, right? Sumo with a whippy bar and straps. Everything has all these extra sleeves wrapped up like a mummy. Come on. But he got caught doing multiple fake lifts early on and never apologized for it. But that's what I mean. These are copes that people do. Right? They're always looking for this instead of saying, hey, what's a standardized lift? And granted, there are ways people can cheat on standardized lifts. Big giant arches on benching gets ridiculous at a certain point, and I think most of us agree with that. But setting that sort of stuff aside, the rest of the standardized lifts on a deadlift, pull sumo away and just do it conventional. There we go. We know you're strong because a lot of the guys that were world record sumo still have ultra elite conventionals, right? Remember Kaylor Wold? I'm sure he pulled those records up in the 900s on a sumo. But I also watched the guy do 800 for 3 reps on a conventional. So, he had to be close to 900 on a conventional when he did that. And that's perfectly fine. That's still ultra elite. But these standardized lifts, okay? I don't know where your overhead press stands. All right, overhead pressing strength. I think benching is a better judge of strength. Okay, then do a strict press. And not this starting strength nonsense. There's standardized charts on this. Used to be a contested lift. Don't allow any movement of the lower body. Strict press, straight up. From a dead stop off your collarbone. That's a standardized lift. Right? Previously standardized their strength standards if you don't want to go with the big 3. All right. Dead hang weighted pull-up. All right, that's somewhat standardized. And these are done competitively. A lot of times it's done as a chin-up, but you can do it as a pull-up. Okay? That is done in competition. We have strength standards. These are relatively strict exercises. If you want to know how strong you are, do stuff like this. Don't pull, oh, I'm going to do a high handle trap bar deadlift. Well, it better be 1,000 pounds. Because if you do 600 on a high handle trap bar with straps, you better be a girl. Like, you're a grown man and you're going to claim to be strong. No, I don't think so. Not really. That's definitely a casual lifter strength level on that device. But people will do that. Well, it's not strong. It's really not that strong. That's equal to about a 400 deadlift, maybe a 450. You know, nobody counts that stuff. Stick with your standardized lifts. And if you do a harder variation, if you still put up a lift that's really strong, then people are going to still respect it. So again, if you're going to do a variation, you still need to be held to those standards. It's like, right? You see a guy do a safety bar squat with 600, you know that guy's strong. You know his back squat is probably stronger than that, but a 600 back squat is considered strong by anybody. So if a guy does that on an SSB, by all means, you know, if you incline bench 405, you're a bad mofo. But that's what I mean. These lifts need to be, if you're going to use a non-standard lifts like this, they need to be harder versions, but they need to be, you know, reasonable. So a lot of times if it's just testing grip strength, nobody cares. Go do a grip test. Do a double overhand deadlift. We're doing these oddball deadlifts where people can lift 800 and 1,000 pounds who are barely 500-pound pullers. Come on, just stop. Just stop. Quit using a push press. Quit using a push press and then trying to discuss your strength. Dudes be push pressing wrapped up like mummies on a lift you can cheat so much on. Just if you want to say that you have a strong overhead press, do a normal strict press, no movement of lower body. None. Not even that starting strength press 2.0. Press it from a dead stop off your upper chest. It's a standardized lift. Okay? Bicep strength, I guess you could do the strict curl. It's still a partial, but at least it's strict. And it's used in competition. There are strength standards and records in place. Okay? So if you want to know how strong you are, you need to use lifts that can be compared to a large number of people. Okay? They need to be able to be compared to a large number of people. Or it needs to be a close enough variation that at least people know it's impressive. Like I said, you know, if you can put up an incline bench that is impressive, even if it was a flat bench, then people know that you're a beast. Right? There's no question about it. Otherwise, you know, it needs to be normal standardized so that you have a true apples-to-apples comparison. It needs to be done without a bunch of equipment on. You start throwing a bunch of elbow sleeves and elbow wraps and stuff on, I don't care how much you lift. And no reasonable person does. You're cheating. You're cheating yourself and you're lying to others. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.